up, YouTube? Thanks for joining us on another episode of What You Talking About? I'm your host, Supercurt. This is my main man and co-host, JMAC.
What's good?
And this is andJkidd right here.
What's up, y'all?
And on the phone, and on the phone, we got the great Ricky G.
What's up, Austin, Texas?
Already. And we're going to get it started right off with the college football conference rankings. Our rankings.
All right, pretty much right off the bat, we'll start with the ACC. I got Florida State as a favorite pretty much. Their defensive line came in already really well last year. They're going to be favored as probably one of the best ones in the nation this year. As long as they can keep E.J. Manuel healthy, which they weren't able to do last year. He's a pretty good quarterback. He's a dual threat. I think they can make some noise in the ACC. Outside of that, there's Clemson and Virginia Tech. They're also going to do their thing, but I got hands down Florida State doing it out of the ACC.
Florida State sounds real good on that one. They're really good. They brought it to them last year. See what they can do this year.
Yeah, I agree on the ACC. I got Florida State. Pac-12, I got actually USC. I got Stanford in front of Oregon. Oregon's actually going to be a good team. I think more people have Oregon ranked higher than Stanford, but I got Stanford taking that spot with the loss of Andrew Luck. I think they'll plug in with the freshman QB. I think they'll be do enough to come in second in that conference. What's your opinion, Rick?
Well, going back to the ACC, I also have Florida State as the favorites. But my honorable mention for possibly contending for that title is Boston College. You know, they have the most returners coming back to their team aside from Florida State. I think it's like 9 or 11 coming back to the starting. You know, so I mean that's the entire side. You know, the defensive side of the ball. I was including a 2-year starter that what's his name, Corey Reddick or something like that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
He has a 112 QB rating and a 53% completion rating. So, I mean, you know, I like FSU, but, I mean, Boston College might make some noise with these veteran players. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to win, just keep an eye out for them. And in the Pac-12, I also have USC winning. I mean, according to Curtis, like we discussed last week about the penalties and all that kind of stuff, I guess they've been lifted because they're number 2 in the preseason of the preseason rankings, you know. So, right. I mean, I like USC all the way. And Oregon should make noise as always. Stanford's going to kind of hurt from losing Andrew Luck. I really think that they're going to really be kind of sorry without him. So yeah, I mean USC and I got Florida State in those two conferences.
I got USC as well in the Pac-12. Stanford and Oregon. Stanford's going to be a question mark with losing Andrew Luck. They're not going to be the same team, but we'll see what their quarterback can do. It's going to be some tough shoes to fill with that. Oregon's still going to be in the mix, and Utah had a really good season last year. Not sure what they have coming back next year, but you know they can make some different, decent noise in there. But USC should be hands down the favorite. And I stand corrected last year. I tried to correct my man Curtis. Wasn't 100% sure myself, but I thought USC should have one more year on their band. This last year was the last year, so they're back in, and I think they're definitely going to be favorites. They should have represented the BCS last year out of their conference. If it wasn't for that band, they would have. So they're going to be really well this year.
Yeah. I like to see what Big 12 has to offer, all the changes they had. I mean, you never know. Texas is supposed to be #1 bounce-back team this year. We'll see what they can do. Coming out the Big 12 with A&M gone. It's got Oklahoma still on top.
Yep.
Oklahoma State, they got a couple people coming back. They're still going to be pretty good. Yeah, got a good recruiting class.
Yeah. You know, out of the Big 12, it's kind of hard for me to tell who's going to win it. It's going to be a pretty tough conference this year. West Virginia, TCU newcomers.
Yeah.
They're going to make some really good noise. West Virginia did really well in the Big East. Granted, it was the Big East last year. And TCU's always been in the national contention as far as contending for a national championship. Excuse me. But Texas is going to be a really good team this year, I think. Last year, their defense was really good. They have a tremendous backfield, starting off with Malcolm Brown from last year. Did really good his freshman year. He's going to do even better this year. Their offensive line is going to be more in sync as far as blocking for the offensive blocking. And also we have newcomer Jonathan Gray, freshman, number 2 in the top 150, #1 running back overall. He's going to do really well next year. Not to mention DJ Monroe, Fozzie Whitaker. You know, we got a backfield, and our defense, like I said, is going to be really good. But Oklahoma's still going to be in the mix. But I still have TCU and West Virginia making some noise as well in there.
Yes.
What's your opinion, Rick?
You know, OU is always a powerhouse in the Big 12. So I mean, never count them out. But don't sleep on West Virginia and TCU. Just like y'all said, they've been battle tested against big time schools in more recently BCS bowls. In West Virginia, in previous years, they were in BCS bowls. So I mean, they're both battle tested. They know how to handle the pressure, obviously. But my team that's a sleeper in this conference is Texas, obviously, because of the talent that y'all described and everything like that. I like their defense is ready, like I said last week and the week before that. And on top of that, like I said, if we can find ourselves a quarterback, somebody step up, make those receivers better, be a true leader on the offensive side of the ball, which is what we so desperately need because we've had nobody in the past since Colt left step up and be that leader.
Very true.
So if we have that, I promise you Texas will make some noise and win the Big 12. But until then, I'm going to have to go unbiasedly with OU. I mean, OU's got a lot of talent, especially with their quarterback position, and he's the leader of that team. So whichever way he goes, that team goes.
True.
I see the winner of the Big 12 coming out this season with one loss. I think it's going to boil down to really Oklahoma and Texas. I think TCU, West Virginia are going to make noise, but I think this being their first season in the Big 12, I think they're going to get like 4 losses. I think it's going to boil down to them not having enough endurance to go through a full Big 12 season playing in the conferences they used to play in. I think the competition is going to be too much. The schemes and the passing offenses every week. It's going to be something different that they're not going to see. As far as Oklahoma and Texas, I think Oklahoma has the advantage over Texas just because of Landry Jones. I think if Texas had a proven quarterback right now, we'd be right there with him. Our defense is proven. Manny Diaz is doing good things with our defense. And so is our running backs are doing great. We got Joe Bergeron, like they said, Malcolm Brown. Got a new guy coming in, DeHaye Johnson from Hendrickson out in Pflugerville, and he's going to be really good. Runs a 4.28. It's been clocked, so that's smoking fast.
That's fast.
Big 12's going to make some noise this year.
The only question mark with Texas is hands down the quarterback. Who's going to step up? Is it going to be Little McCoy? Is it going to be Case? Or is it going to be David Ash? Offensive line.
David Ash.
That was a big question mark.
Do you think it's possible for a team, just real quick, do you think it's possible for a team to go back to like the olden days and be led by a running back kind of like Alabama recent years and Ricky Williams with the Texas further back?
I think they could. I think that's very possible. Granted, nowadays it's a pass-oriented college football, NFL, you name it, all football in general, it's pass-oriented now, but I think it needs to go back at some point.
I think
Texas has the team to do it.
They have a lot of
the 4 running backs they have a deep running back game, and they can use it in every which way they want to. I mean, they can go inside, outside. They got the speed. They got the strength. I mean, they just got to use it to their advantage.
I agree.
I'm gonna say that Ricky Williams and Cedric Benson, those type of dudes, they had Major Applewhite, Chris Sims, those type of quarterbacks by them. So they weren't slouches by any means, And on top of that, somebody like Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson, who I was talking about with Jason earlier, they had McElroy behind them. So like I said, not slouches at quarterbacks. I'd say that the leadership came from the quarterback position. They just knew that the impact player was their running back, so he was the go-to guy and the guy that everybody depended on, not necessarily the leader. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
That's just my opinion.
I feel you.
Very bad.
But we'll go into the Big Ten real quick. We haven't touched on the Big Ten yet. Michigan, they had solid success last year. Denard Robinson, hopefully he worked on his passing game. His passing wasn't the most efficient last year, but definitely a great runner. It's a dual threat. I think they're going to do really well, along with Wisconsin and Michigan State also coming off really good years last year. They're going to make some noise, but Michigan's the favorite for me out of the Big Ten,
I'm actually going to go with Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin's going to be the team that's going to come out of nowhere and going to take that conference.
Yeah, Wisconsin's got a really good defense.
They got some pretty good running backs in their stable also, so that's why I'm picking the one out.
Like you said, if Denard Robinson hasn't picked up that passing game, then
there's a question mark there.
There is a big question mark, but they got talent there. They got a good team. We'll see what they do.
What do you think, Greg?
I think that it's either going to be Michigan or actually Penn State has a chance to make some noise with all the turmoil that's going on there. Recruiting actually still keeps increasing over the past couple of years, so including this year. So I think that with the new recruits over there, they might make some noise. Ohio State's going to start the season without their running back, Jordan Hall. He had surgery after he cut his foot. It's like some sewn up stuff or whatever. He's going to be out for 6 weeks and some rehab. So, I mean, they're definitely out of the mix for a little bit at least. And, you got teams like Nebraska, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and stuff. I like them. They have a lot of returners coming back to their teams, but ultimately, I'd say either Michigan or Penn State. My ultimate pick being Michigan.
I like that pick. 2-on-2 with that one. I mean, why do you think we're so different on that? Well, I mean, what's your overall take on why you think Michigan is going to lose to Wisconsin?
I think, I think Denard Robinson is a good player, but I think he doesn't have, like, the QB skills. Kind of like they say that Tebow doesn't have as far as, like, making the accurate throw. I mean, he has all the arm strength, but, his accuracy in there, his decision-making. But vice versa, Tim Tebow does have the decision-making, but his accuracy in there.
Right.
But, I just don't see him being the guy for Michigan right now. Michigan's been down so much. I think they need like a kind of like a proven guy for their quarterback. Some guy who's been there, 3-4 years, their final year, and he's going in. I still see Michigan going to be in at the bottom of that conference. Actually, man. I think they're gonna fall off.
I don't know about the bottom, man.
I don't know about the bottom.
I think he's only gonna get better. That's my opinion. I don't think he can get any worse. I think he's going to get better. He was. But even with that, as horrible as he was, there's still 10-2. I think 10-3. Still a really good record.
They got a really good team to go along with.
But I think the conference was weak also. I think the conference has stepped up as a whole, and I think it's going to be a lot more competition.
It was pretty good last year.
I mean, it was good.
I mean, they still got a good defense, but like you said, Denard Robinson, his key thing is his decision making at the end of games. He likes to
try to do something he's not
supposed to do. He likes to make those gutsy plays.
That's what I'm saying.
Michigan,
mark my words, Michigan, they're going to be at the bottom of the conference. They'll finish fourth at best in the conference this year. But Notre Dame, they're going to be the sleeper team that nobody's talking about. It's going to make the noise that everybody's going to be like, is Notre Dame back? They won't win anything. They're going to lose in one of the bowl games. They're going to lose, but they're going to get close and everybody's going to start talking about that.
I definitely think they're going to be back in the mix for sure. I don't deny that either. But we're going to replay this back when I prove that you're wrong. Come December, January, we're going to come back to this episode and we're going to talk about how wrong you were because Michigan's going to be on top, in my opinion. But if they're not on top, they're not going to be at the bottom. That's for sure. But Notre Dame, for sure, is going to come and make some noise finally. They're supposed to, a couple years, in a row, they're supposed to be doing some things. I think this is the year where they are going to turn it around. I agree.
Okay.
What do you think about that, Rick?
Like I said, I think Michigan. I like Curtis's argument, but I mean, personally, I just think that Michigan, going to take the Big Ten. Notre Dame's definitely going to make some noise, but they did lose that receiver. What was his name? Golden Tate or something like that.
Yeah. Right about that.
So they lost their star player on the offensive side of the ball and their running back. So I mean, come on now, you really think they're going to make that much noise to where people are going to be talking about them?
I don't know. They always recruit really well. It's Notre Dame. They always do recruit really well.
I agree with that, but I'm not saying I don't think that they're ready right now. I mean, that was their offense. They have to redo the whole offense. They have to come up with another game plan now. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely understand that. I like the argument. I still think they're going to make some noise. Not necessarily competing for a national championship by any means. I think they're going to make their way back into at least a BCS bowl potentially, though. I see that.
I don't think BCS bowl. They'll make a bowl, but they won't make a BCS bowl. That's my prediction.
Well, a lot of teams make bowls, That's not too much of an accomplishment. I actually think if they're not in a BCS bowl, they're going to be at least one of those teams that, dang, why didn't they make it? I can't believe they didn't make it.
Some bowls you don't even want to go to.
Yeah. The Meineke Car Care Bowl, But Big East, weakest, major conference there is, hands down. Cincy had a really good season last year. They went 10-3. West Virginia was in that conference. They had also a 10-3 record, but now moving to the Big 12. So we got some competition coming in from that division, and followed by Rutgers at 9-4. Don't expect too much noise. Obviously, one's going to have to represent in the BCS. If I had to take my pick, it's going to be Cincinnati doing it.
I agree. I think Cincinnati would do it. Now that, those teams didn't sign with the Big East, like TCU, they were supposed to go with the Big East. That's who I had originally going to take the Big East, but they're now in the Big 12. They made the perfect decision, and, you might have Big East, Big 12, had to take it.
Yeah,
so
right choice.
I think they made the right choice, and
especially West Virginia leaving. Now he was a point ago. There's no competition anymore over there.
Exactly. So I agree. Since he's going to have it, without the competition of the other teams in the division.
What do you think, Rick?
I like Cincinnati also. I think Louisville is a sleeper team. You know, they're always right on the brink every single year. They have those close games, you know, and then they lose like a couple of them in a row, and then they just get completely blown out. So people talk about like, oh, they're not that great.
Right.
But really, they have a pretty solid team, pretty veteran team coming back. So I mean, I think they should be all right. You know, I mean, the sleeper team. That's what I'm saying. But Cincinnati takes it.
Got you.
Yeah.
And then last but not least is the SEC. We haven't gone to the SEC yet. You know, hands down, LSU and Alabama. You know, there's no question in that.
Always.
Top two always. You know, I don't think that's ever going to change, especially with the coaching they have, Les Miles and Nick Saban.
Yeah.
You know, everybody wants to play for those guys. Newcomers A&M and Mizzou shouldn't make too much noise. I think they made a really bad decision. I understand why they did with the recruiting aspect, as my man Rick said on the last episode. But they made a terrible decision. They couldn't win in the Big 12. What makes them think they're going to win in the SEC?
Right.
It's just retarded to me. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't like it. But South Carolina this year, be on the lookout for them. They're going to be a really good team. Marcus Lattimore is going to a great running back, ran for 818 yards last year as a freshman. Easy 1,000-yard rusher this year, I think, in my opinion. You know, watch out for them.
Yeah. I like both of those teams. I like Alabama. They've always got a good defensive team.
Yeah, they do.
And they got a great recruiting class, like you said.
Always.
I mean, there's no question in my mind that those guys are going to come back strong.
Yeah. I agree. I got Alabama, LSU, and then I got South Carolina for that third spot.
Yeah.
South Carolina, they might, you know, they could go for that second spot with Lattimore coming back. If he comes back healthy, running strong, then, you know, watch out for South Carolina.
Yeah, 818 yards on a shortened season. I forgot to mention
Right,
that.
yeah.
He didn't play the entire season. So,
Right.
what do you think about that, Rick?
I actually got LSU coming out of the SEC. Alabama's only coming back with 11 seniors this year, and that means the rest of their team was young, and they only got about 1 year experience, if that. So I like Saban's coaching tactics. I think he's a great coach, and he always puts his team in the right position to be in the mix. But I think this is their year to finally say, you know, okay, we're going to, like, you know, now I'm not saying they're going to be last. I'm just probably like third in the conference, you know, something like that. I got LSU, like, winning the conference, like I said, and my sleeper team is South Carolina because of Lattimore. You know, and Georgia actually lost their running back, Isaiah Crowell, to a weapons charge, so he's gone for the year. He's off the team.
Yeah.
Dummy.
And they also got like 5 other guys suspended for the first couple of weeks to go along with him, without something going on with some kind of charge.
When you're in a position when you get a scholarship, you're playing for a national contender possibly, why do you do stupid stuff like that? Another topic for another day, but that drives me nuts. I don't like it at all. I wish I was no kidding. Another topic for another day, but man, if I was in that position, I don't understand what they're thinking. I wish I was ever in that position to be like that.
To get cut.
Yeah.
Hey, and just so y'all know, 11 out of those 11 seniors, most of them are actually linemen, defensive and offensive linemen.
Yeah, well, see, that's the best
That's the
seniors to have, you know. Like,
And that's what I said too. Exactly.
You want experience on the line.
That's
for
exactly
sure.
what I said. I'd rather have those dudes anchoring down my team, you know.
right.
True. But we're going to Heisman talk, preseason Heisman predictions. You know, I'll go and let man andJkidd start off with that. What do you think?
I like Matt Barkley, Landry Jones. Those guys, they've been showing a lot of improvement in their game now that they're two of the top quarterbacks in the college football right now. Now that Luck and Griffin are gone, they got a lot to prove this year. This season is pretty much one of their last seasons. They don't have much more after this to go. If they don't prove it this year, then I don't know how far they'll make it in their future.
Right. What do you think about that, Rick? What you got?
I'll just give you a quick top 5, and then I'll give you a reason why. I got Matt Barkley, Monty Ball, Landry Jones, LaMarcus Lattimore, then Denard Robinson.
Okay.
Just based off what they've been doing for their teams, you know, that's my top 5 personally. And I like Matt Barkley. He's already NFL ready. He looks just like it. I mean, he's got the good form. He can tweak it a little bit like any guy coming out of college, but he's ready. And like Justin said, if I heard correctly, he's the most talented quarterback in this year's college football scene. So I like him. And like I said, my sleeper, he might sneak up on somebody's Monty Ball. Keep an eye out for him. That dude's gonna wreck this year.
I like Monty Ball.
Wisconsin running back.
See, my Heisman watch is going to be with, like, it's usually off the, you know, 2 hottest teams in the nation.
Right.
So I'm going to go with, I think it's going to be USC, and I'm going to go with Matt Barkley. And right after him, I'm going to go with Oklahoma's Landry Jones. I think they're going to be the top two. But watch out for sleeper, Jonathan Gray. I think he's going to have an Adrian Peterson freshman type season. You know how Adrian Peterson break his freshman season?
Absolutely.
Came in, got in the running, didn't win it. But, I think he's going to be in that run, and I think he's going to actually, show off this year. I mean, he broke all Adrian Peterson's high school running records in Texas, and I think this guy's ready.
If anybody can do that,
I see you, Supercurt. I see you.
If anybody can do it, I'll take. I got Malcolm Brown doing it before I have Jonathan Gray doing it. Because Malcolm Brown had a really good season last year. He has the taste of getting hit by the college players, the speed of the college game. I think he has an advantage over Jonathan Gray. If anybody's going to do it from Texas, which I really don't think anybody will. I think they're really capable running backs, but are they going to make Heisman noise? Not necessarily, in my opinion, as much as I wish and hope they do. But I actually got the same thing pretty much everybody else said. Matt Barkley, Landry Jones, and my sleeper is, as I mentioned in my last topic with the SEC, running back Marcus Lattimore. I think he's actually going to be the sleeper. I think he's going to actually be able to beat out the quarterbacks, Matt Barkley and Landry Jones possibly. Running backs are kind of one of those positions you don't get enough credit for sometimes. When you're a quarterback, you get the nod a little bit more than other positions. But I think if anybody can do it, it's Marcus Lattimore, and watch out for Tyrann Mathieu as well. Coming back, he was a Heisman candidate last year. Watch out for him coming out of LSU as well.
Cool. Well, we'll jump right into our NFL power rankings. Rick, you want to start us off?
Yeah, man. I just went ahead and did like a top 5 of the entire NFL. This is the way I did it. And I have it Giants, New England, Green Bay, Baltimore, and the 49ers actually sneaking in there. The reason I have New York is obviously, like I said, you can't go against the champ. You still got to give them that love, until they're knocked off the throne. So that's my number 1 right out the gate. New England, drafted some defense in the first 6 rounds. That was very smart because their defense was there, but it could have been a lot better last year.
Right.
Green Bay, same as New England. They drafted all kinds of defense. They had the lowest rated defense in the league, so definitely props to them for doing the right thing. Offense under Rodgers is always great. So, they're going to definitely make up. Baltimore picked up another linebacker, Courtney Shaw. So, I mean, y'all know how good he is. So, Upshaw, I'm sorry, Corey Upshaw.
Yeah.
So the defense is going to be nasty. And the 49ers got Moss and Brandon Jacobs. Alex Smith has the support. The coaches say he's the guy for right now. So, hopefully they can put it together.
I like those top 5, actually. That's a pretty good top 5. I actually broke mine down into NFC, AFC. Top NFC, I got the Packers. I think Aaron Rodgers was named, like I mentioned last episode, top player out of the 100 players in the NFL. Their defense, as Rick said, picked up some good players in the draft. I got the 49ers followed by them in the NFC. As he mentioned, once again, Braylon Edwards and Randy Moss coming to the 49ers. Their defense was already there. They had one player away from possibly going to the Super Bowl last year. New Orleans Saints, the only question mark right now is Drew Brees. Is he going to be able to sign that contract? He's under the franchise tag still, so he still technically does have to report to the season at least. He's still holding out of the practices and the offseason training and all that. We'll see what happens with that. Detroit Lions, really good this year. Calvin Johnson, probably the best receiver in the league. Andre Johnson could rival that. I got Calvin Johnson out of the Johnsons of that one. Matthew Stafford, really good. Defense, Nick Fairley's going to play a whole season, hopefully, this year. That defensive line with Dominic Sue. Their defense was really good last year. You saw what they did to Tony Romo, tore him apart in the second half of that game. It was ridiculous. And then New York Giants, as much as they did win the Super Bowl, I get it. That's why they're in my top 5. But the last time they won the Super Bowl, they didn't make the playoffs. They lost some players. Mario Manningham came down with that great catch in the Super Bowl. They lost him. So that's a little bit of a question mark there, but I think the Giants still can come out of the NFC East, which is still a very, very tough conference to come out of in general. AFC, Patriots. There's no question. They got Tom Brady. Still, they're in the Super Bowl last year. They didn't lose anybody really. They only gained some players. Then you got the Ravens, who were right there with the Patriots last year. Still got that defense. Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, Ed Reed. Offense, I think Joe Flacco can overcome that finally. He's right there. He's not quite an elite quarterback, but I think he can make that step possibly this year. Steelers are always in the mix. Still Curtin. Ben Roethlisberger is one of the most clutch quarterbacks in the league. And you got the Texans. Texans are going to be really good this year. They were good last year. They're definitely going to win that conference. That division. And can definitely make some noise. And then Broncos. I got the Broncos as my number 5. They got Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's gonna make some difference. Peyton Manning's gonna make a difference there. There's gonna, you know, they were out of that conference last year, that division. You know, and that was with Tim Tebow. You know, Peyton Manning's gonna get the ball where it needs to be, and the running game's gonna be just as effective because of the play action. Watch out for them as well.
What's your take on that, Justin?
Mine's a little different from these two guys. I'm gonna start off with the AFC. AFC, I got, of course, you know, Patriots. You know, those guys. Tom Brady's unbelievable. That guy's great. They, like y'all said, they picked up a lot more defensive players, and that's exactly what they needed last season. I think they'll make it far, maybe possibly to the Super Bowl. Number 2, I got Baltimore. Then number 3, Pittsburgh, Houston, and Cincinnati will be my team coming out of the AFC. I think Cincinnati will make some noise, possibly beat out your Broncos. Sorry about that.
I like
those guys. They picked up some key defensive players also. They
still got
they still got their key offensive players. You know, AJ Green and Dalton.
Yep, and Dalton.
Those guys, they're a good tandem, just like Detroit's Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson.
I agree.
NFC, I have the Bears. Those guys had some great pickups in the offseason, I think. So I think they needed big time. They had the defense already. They also, I mean, they did pick up a couple more defensive players, you know, to kind of learn and go under Brian Urlacher's Julius Peppers, you know, Lance Briggs, let them teach them something. They also picked up key receiver Brandon Marshall.
Yeah, teaming back up with the quarterback there.
And also a great running back with Michael Bush. Those guys are going to be pretty damn good.
I did forget about Michael Bush.
And with Jay Cutler coming back, and if he comes back healthy, the way he finished out last season before he got injured, he was doing great. With that, all they need is to sign Matt Forte, you know, give him that deal that he needs.
That he deserves.
Yeah, he needs and deserves.
Yeah, yeah, that's ridiculous.
Number 2, I got I'm gonna have to go with the Giants. Number 2.
Yeah, buddy.
Super Bowl champs. You know they're fucking good. But I mean, like these guys said, those couple of players that they lost, key players. Mario Manningham, that guy's huge. Yeah,
Aaron Ross,
real key plays, and that's
Aaron Ross,
Super Bowl
player.
Number 3, I'm gonna have to go with the Packers. They got a great team, great quarterback, great receivers. 49ers, gonna be my number 4 pick. They also had some key pickups. And number 5, I'm gonna go with the Lions, Detroit Lions. I think they have a lot to prove this season as far as everything that's been happening in the offseason, their playoffs. Calvin Johnson, man, Megatron, you can't stop him. He's unstoppable.
So no New Orleans from you. No New Orleans.
I don't see New Orleans, and the reasoning being, I mean, Drew Brees, he's great, and he's always going to be great.
Yeah.
But the key for is all the suspensions, and also the coach. I mean,
he's not gonna be there.
The coach is going to be gone and he makes a lot of the key decisions. He makes a lot of the decisions, pretty much all the decisions for that team, and without him, you can't replace that decision making.
That's true.
And then they also got their interim coach been missing 8 games this season.
Yeah.
They'll be out without a coach for a little while. So
their best defensive player, Velma.
Yeah.
The
whole season.
The whole season. Yeah, he's not getting out.
There's definitely
that's a little extreme.
There's a lot going on with the Saints, and I don't see them, even if they had other players, I don't see them going to the playoffs.
I just thought of Drew Brees. That's why I put it at number 3. Thinking about all of that, I might even knock him down to like number 5 and move, the Lions up and the Giants up. But I still think NFC. I still think they can do something in there though. Even with all those losses, I still think they can make Drew Brees. I think if anybody can overcome something like that, it's him. Along with Colston, he's still got his weapons as far as who to throw the ball to. They didn't use any offense, and I think they can outscore people still. So
See, I think I'm gonna shake it up because with the AFC, I mean, I got New England. We all had New England.
Yeah.
But I think the team y'all gotta watch out for is the New York Football Jets. They're gonna make noise. Trust me. Look how the Broncos did last year. They're gonna feel the magic. It's gonna be magic in the stadium.